Hello. Hello, can you hear me? I have two people online, Oliver and Zed. Can you both hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, very good. We'll wait a few minutes and see if anyone else joins us. Let's see. What are you currently seeing on my screen? Are you seeing the slide?
Yeah.
Okay. So where are you both from?
About me, I'm from Iraq.
From Iraq?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you currently located in Iraq?
Yes.
Yes, very good. Oliver,
I'm in China.
you're in China. Okay. I'm
Mhm.
Julia. I'm Julia Pfaff.
Oh,
I am the director of center operations for Into Mason. So I'm going to be the one doing this housing webinar, and hopefully you'll get some good information. So what programs are you in right now? Like, what program do we admit you into?
You mean the major in Mason?
Yes.
Yeah, my major, it's cybersecurity engineering.
Cybersecurity engineering at the
Yeah.
undergraduate or graduate level?
Undergraduate level.
Undergraduate level, very good. And Oliver?
graduate public policy.
Graduate in public policy. My master's degree is in public policy. So
Oh, that's
I am
nice.
I am familiar with that program and that school. So we're super excited for you to be joining us in the fall. And Zed, I just want to double check and make sure have I given you a housing exemption as an undergraduate student?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Were you planning on living off campus or on campus?
Yeah, on campus.
On campus.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to double check and make sure that I have. Zed, do you know what your IN or G number is?
Yeah, my G number I know, but give me a second to check it.
Okay. Zaid, when you got it, if you can just put it in the chat and I'll check from there. I'm going to get started now. This is recording, so we will be posting the recording on our Into Mason website if you want to sort of follow up with what is.
Okay, I will write it down, my G.
Yeah, just put it in the chat and I will get it from there. Just want to double check.
Okay, second.
So most of this is going to be focused on off-campus housing. I can talk a little bit about on-campus housing towards the end. Sid. It's not going to be very long. Mostly what I want to do is going to introduce you to the process of finding housing in Northern Virginia and some things to be looking out for, as well as some options and resources that you can use. So when you are looking at housing and engaging in a lease, that is a whole set of new vocabulary words that you may not have learned in English. such as what is a lease? What, who's the tenant? Who's the landlord? What kinds of housing exist in the area? And so we're gonna go over all of these different, sort of provide you with an overview of these different questions that you need to ask, how to do a search, what's normal, what's not normal. So with a lease is a legal agreement. When you sign a lease, whether you're signing the lease with the university to live in university housing, or whether you're signing a lease for an apartment or even a bedroom in someone's home, it's a legal document, a contract. Generally, there are going to be two different parties: the tenant or the renter, that is you, the person who's signing on the lease saying that you want to live in a particular place, and the landlord. The landlord is the owner. Now, the landlord can be a person or it can be a corporation. Leases generally have a time period. So typically in the US, you are going to have 12-month leases. So for a full year. If you live on campus, it's a 9-month lease. So it goes from August until the end of the academic year in May. Typically when a student signs a lease and they know that they're only going to be in a place for only 9 months, there are, generally speaking, options to sublet your space at the end of your term. And that's where you find someone to take over your lease for the period of time of the lease. And that needs to be done in agreement with your landlord. You don't want to live in a place without a signed lease. If a landlord, or even if you're renting a room in a space that's another student has rented, so let's say you're going to be a roommate with someone, you want to be really clear what your legal responsibilities are with regards to the landlord and the space. The rent, another vocabulary word, is the fixed amount that is paid monthly to the landlord, and it's generally listed in the lease. If you live in on-campus housing, all of that money is collected on a semesterly basis, or upfront. One of the things that you need to understand in your rent is what is included. Sometimes it's just the space, and sometimes it includes parts of the utilities. So utilities would be gas or water, trash, heating, air conditioning, Wi-Fi, cable. And again, different landlords will handle these in different ways. You also might have a property manager. The property manager is a person or a company who operates the property on behalf of the owner. So often if you're not leasing directly from the owner, so if you're leasing, say, a house, there's a number of places near campus where the homeowner has purchased a number of houses and they will rent out spaces to students, and they act both as the landlord and the property manager. If you rent in an apartment complex, oftentimes you're dealing with a property manager. The security deposit is an amount of money that the tenant pays at the start of a lease that is held by the landlord in order to account for any potential damage that might be done to the property. If at the end of your lease term, the landlord or their agent, the property manager, comes through, finds no damage, they give that money back to you. Amenities are different features that provide comfort and convenience. So, for example, you might have a swimming pool in an apartment complex. You might have a doorman in an apartment complex. In a home, you might have terms and conditions which talk about things like kitchen, like can you use the kitchen or not? Like some home, if you're living in a space and renting a bedroom out in someone's home, sometimes they limit the amount of kitchen use you can have, sometimes they don't. It could be an amenity, could be a non-shared bathroom. So an ensuite bathroom could be considered an amenity. And then you have furnished and unfurnished apartments. So a furnished apartment is going to be coming with, or a furnished space is going to be coming with a bed and a desk and a dresser maybe. It could come with couches and tables. An unfurnished apartment clearly is just the apartment. Typically, actually, I know of no instances here in the United States where the kitchen is not complete in a rental, is not completely fitted out. I know in some countries there's nothing in the kitchen and you have to buy your own appliances when you rent, but in the US that's not the case. You'll find a refrigerator, an oven, typically a microwave, but that's sometimes optional, and cabinetry. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Let's see, there we go. So there's different types of housing. Obviously, you can live on campus. In an on-campus situation, you're going to have a roommate. Generally speaking, you'll be in one bedroom. You may have a shared bathroom with people with your room or not with your room. You can have a house. Within a house, you might, and those houses are generally speaking standalone. They'll have a small yard around them. There's a type of home called a townhome, which is the size of a house. So it generally will have multiple levels, 2, 3, 4 levels. But it's in one building. So you'll see a row of these townhouses. There's an apartment. An apartment, generally speaking, can either be in an apartment building, and it's all generally on one floor. The space that you would be renting would all be on one floor, generally speaking, and would consist of a bedroom and a kitchen and a bathroom and a living space. A condo is similar to an apartment, the difference being that condos can be individually owned. Generally speaking, an apartment most apartments are going to be operated by a corporation, and the corporation owns the building itself. With a condo, the individual owner, the landlord, owns the apartment space. And then there are homestays. Homestays are living with a family here in the Fairfax area. Generally speaking, with a homestay, you participate somewhat in family life. You might take meals with them. There's different arrangements and different types of families that you might have. People can choose to either rent an entire house or just rooms in a house. Now, if you're just renting rooms in a house, then you may be living with the landlord. You may be living with other people who are also renting out rooms in that house. Different homeowners that rent out space to students will have different rules. So it is important that as you're negotiating with the homeowner or the landlord, that you understand what the rules of the house are. So some people that rent out individual rooms will put locks on each of the bedroom doors, so you have your own private secured space. Some won't. Just something to look at. Typically, as of last fall, the monthly rent for a room could go between $600 and $1,200. That's without an ensuite bathroom. An ensuite bathroom is a private bathroom connected just to that bedroom. The master bedroom that has a private bath, or a bedroom that has a private bath, could be anywhere between $800 and $1,500. And a whole house could go between $2,000 and $5,000. And then you have apartments. Apartments can go anywhere from no bedrooms, i.e., it's referred to as a studio apartment, meaning it's one space where you have living, dining, sleeping, and the kitchen area, with the bathroom being, the space with the door on it, to 4 bedrooms. And they usually, unless you are in a student apartment, so there's a couple of places very close to campus which are catering to students, generally apartments come unfurnished. Rooms in people's homes in a house can either come furnished or unfurnished. It just depends. So I've already explained what a condo is, and I explained a little bit about what homestay is. Generally with homestay, those agreements are done on like a semesterly basis. Typically with the homestay, these aren't generally arrangements that students stay in with the same family for the course of the entire time that they're in the US. So what are some things that you need to consider? Are there any questions about anything that I've said so far? Okay. So one of the things that you need to keep in mind is your budget. How much can you spend on rent? Like, and how much can you spend on the utilities? The utilities on the rent are going to pretty much be fixed costs to you. Do you have a kitchen to cook? And is there, nearby where you're staying, are there affordable restaurants or cafes or places grocery stores that you can shop at? Transportation is something that you also need to be budgeting in if you are not living within walking distance of campus. So I'm going to go in a little bit on the next slide, a little bit more about transportation, but if you're planning on using like Uber or Lyft or a taxi, it can cost you between $10 and $20 without a tip in an Uber or taxi, or Uber or Lyft. So you want to factor that in, because that gets pretty expensive pretty quickly. So transportation. What you want to think about in this area is we have a lot of traffic. And so you want to be careful about where you choose to live. I wouldn't live any more than a 30-minute drive away. So if you have a friend, an uncle, a family member, and they live out in Ashburn, for example, which isn't even on this map here, that's sort of out past the international airport, that's probably going to be a 40-minute drive, 40-minute to an hour drive to get to campus, and there really isn't any public transportation. If you say, I've got an uncle friend who lives in Washington, D.C., and I can take the metro and use public transportation, that is doable. There are students that do that, but you need to factor in that would be about an hour to an hour and a half commute on the metro. And then you have to factor in the costs. Not every place within this 30-minute circle that is drawn on this map has access to public transportation. So within the area, some things that, as far as public transportation, that you can be thinking about. George Mason offers shuttles that are free for students with a Mason ID. Our shuttles run between the Fairfax campus, the Arlington campus, our campus out in Manassas, Prince William. And again, like I said, those are free. The Q bus is operated by the city of Fairfax and it is free for everybody. I'm going to show you later on some resources that sort of map or overlay the public transportation onto some of these different locations. If you take the metro, which is the subway system, but it's also a bus system, there's several different bus systems in this area. You purchase a Smart Trip card or use the app on your phone. And those tickets are basically metered. It depends on the time of day, how much the ticket is, but it's roughly between $2 to $6 one way. And then you have the Fairfax Connector, which is that Fairfax Connector is run by Fairfax County. It is linked into the Smart Trip card and the Metro buses. If you take a Fairfax Connector trip, it's about $2. So if you're searching for a place, you need to use all of your resources. It is a challenge to find housing. It is not impossible to find housing, but you must be persistent and use every single resource. We've had students who have stayed in long-term Airbnbs. There is a Facebook group that I recommend that if you're looking for off-campus housing that you join. A lot of students, a lot of private landlords, i.e. someone who has a home and they're renting out space in their home, that they may own multiple homes in the area, but they're renting space out. They're not a corporation. Use this space. There are 2 off-campus, very close, privately run student apartment complexes. One is the Flats, which is about a mile to a mile and a half away from campus. You can walk back and forth. The Q bus goes back and forth between the two. You can ride a bus or a bike or a scooter between them. And then there is the Main on University. The Main on University is right across the street from the Fairfax campus. It is probably maybe a 5-minute walk from the building that a lot of the Into Mason courses are taught in. And that's brand new. It's opening up on August 15th. So brand new spaces. och.gmu.edu is the off-campus housing portal for George Mason. So we've talked a little bit about some vocabulary words, about types of houses, about leases, about different locations, some things to be thinking about once you find a place to live. So you want to know if the person you're talking to is the landlord or the property manager. You want to know if your room has its own key, if you're living in a group space. Are the rooms furnished? Are there other people living in the same house or apartment? How many people are sharing bathrooms? Do you have access to a kitchen? Does the landlord live in the house? If not, how do you manage the property in case something breaks? Like, who do you call if the toilet backs up? How do you regulate the room temperature? Is there a thermostat? How do you throw away the trash? Now, these sound like pretty basic questions, but it's not always self-evident. Every We have private trash collection here, and so your neighbor may be using a different service than your landlord has contracted with, and so you need to know what are the dates that trash goes out, those kinds of things. Can you see the apartment or space before you sign the lease? If you use the Airbnb official platform, some advantages to that is you can use credit cards to pay for your space. You're kind of up in the air. They do exist in the area. And you just would have to search to see what's available. I talked about the Facebook private housing group. You want to make sure that you're talking to the landlord. They may or may not accept credit cards. Some of the private landlords will accept payment platforms like Venmo or Zelle, or Google Pay. Some will not. So you need to find out how you pay. Like, how do they want to be paid? The flats and the main, they have a range of types of rooms. Their rooms run from 1 bedroom to 4 bedrooms. In both of these complexes, the bedrooms have their own, the bedrooms have their own bathrooms. So, and in the flats, most of them do as well. I think that there are some where it's 2 people and they share the 1 bathroom. The difference between the flats and the main, besides location, is that in the main, the rent, so the rent covers, each of the bedrooms are metered. By metered, I mean they have their own utilities. So when you have your bedroom, which has a double bed, and your bathroom, you pay for the air conditioning and electricity and heat in that space. So there's a meter on it, and the water. You pay for all of that yourself. The shared spaces, which would be the kitchen, the living room, the laundry room, gets divided by the number of tenants in those bedrooms. So if there's 2, it would be divided by 2. If there's 3, it would be divided by 3. If it's 4, it would be divided by 4. And all of that is paid directly to the landlord, and the landlord, you don't have to worry about turning on or turning off the utilities. In the flats have the utilities are all for the space. It's 1 meter for the whole space, and someone in each of those units has to coordinate for the bill from the electric company and the water company. In each of the, I'm sorry, the price range here, I realize I have a typo here. It's 1,000 to 2,150. This missing a 0. Depending on the style of the room and the number of people in it. So in the flats, the 2,150 is for basically an apartment. It's a single apartment, single bedroom. Each bedroom has its own bathroom with a shower and a closet. I'll give you the information to contact them. Contemporary Student Services is our off-campus resource for students who don't live on campus. So they manage the off-campus housing portal. They provide general guidance. There's some training on this website. The off-campus housing portal that you can access through George Mason, it'll show you it. The map on it is very nice because that particular map overlays the locations of the rental properties with the metro system and the bus system. So you can kind of have a sense of how close something is to campus. There are some questions that you'll have, what's normal, what's not normal. It's normal for a landlord to ask for first and last month's rent up front. Often with international students who don't have a credit rating, landlords will request 3 months rent paid in advance. So the first 3 months paid in advance, plus the security deposit. The security deposit is kept on hand, and as I said before, it's returned to you if nothing is damaged in the property. It is not normal for a lease agreement not to have the rental price listed. And it's also typically not normal for there not to be anything about whether or not the rent increases at the renewal period. Often, at the end of a renewal period, which would be the year, the rent will go up. That's a negotiation with you and your landlord. You want to make sure, if from a safety point of view, there are no misspelled words in the advertising or in the lease. You want to be careful about anybody who wants you to exchange money sight unseen. You want to steer away from anybody who's unwilling to answer your questions. You want to make sure that the entrances are well lit, that there's working smoke detectors, that you can understand the fire escape routes. Nothing's structurally falling apart. So that's what structural soundness means. What's the security in the area or the building? The area around the Fairfax campus is extremely safe. I live a mile from campus. I typically don't lock my doors. It's very safe in this area, but you do want to be smart about what you do. So moving in and moving out, it's common for application fees to be charged. An application fee is generally 25 to, it's usually not, I wouldn't pay more than $100. Typically it's in the $25 to $50 range. It might be a little bit, some of the apartment complexes will have a 100, I think the main is $100 application fee. There is a move-in inspection. You want to take pictures. You want to know where the utilities and how to get the utilities turned on. You probably want to get renter's insurance. Renter's insurance covers your property in case of it can cover it in case there's a fire or some other damage that might occur, flood. It can also cover you in case things may be stolen. You want to make sure that you do your move in and your move out inspection. And if there isn't a representative from the landlord that's there, that you take pictures or videotape in both instances, just to make sure that you're not being charged for something that was damage that was already there. You want to schedule your move-in inspection within 5 days of moving in, and schedule your move out within 3 days of moving out for exactly the same reasons. And you want to make sure that you get that in writing. Alrighty, do you have any questions? Okay, stop sharing. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you for explaining. I have one question, but before that, you asked me about my G number.
Yes.
I can't write it in the chat because chat is disabled.
Oh,
So,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. That is kind of strange. Let me see if I can enable it.
Okay.
I did not set this Zoom link up. Can can you, only the host and panels can see, can you type in the question and answer?
Second. Yeah, okay, I can type here.
Yeah, type in there.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
typing. I sent.
yeah, I see it. Oliver, do you have any questions at all?
I have questions um on campus housing.
You have questions about on-campus housing? Yes, what everybody wants. Um,
Should I ask them now or
yeah,
with
go ahead and ask them now. I can answer those questions. I'm looking up to see whether,
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if you have like a dining hall or a cafeteria
we do. We have, so
or
on campus, there are 3 dining halls and about 25 or 30 different like on campus restaurants that range from Starbucks to, there's 2 different pizza places on campus. Dunkin' Donuts is here. We have Halal Guys, Chipotle, Panera. We have a couple of smaller dining options that are vegetarian only. So there's plenty of food on campus. Like whether that food is done by Sodexo, who's our dining contractor, or whether the food is provided by, you know, a national chain like Panera or Chipotle or Halal Guys or Steak and Shake. We have vegetarian options on campus, in multiple locations. We have halal options on campus in multiple locations. We have Southeast Asian options on campus. We have Asian options. There's sushi usually on campus. And then across the street from our main Fairfax campus, there is there's a shopping center. It's called University Mall. It's not really a mall, but there's a wide range. There's a Thai restaurant, a Japanese restaurant, a McDonald's, a deli, a coffee place, a several different, like there's 2 taco places. There's O George's, which is sort of it's, how would I explain Oh George's? It's American food, but it's a nicer restaurant. It's not White Table, but it's a nicer restaurant. And then there's Fats, which is more of a bar, Louisiana style food is offered there. So there's a wide range of food very close. Across the street in the other direction, there's a Vietnamese pho place, there is a biryani place, there's then in downtown Fairfax City, there's a Uyghur restaurant, another Thai. There's lots of places to eat, is what I'm trying to get at, that range in price point. And students that live off campus can purchase meal plans. Students who live on campus are required to purchase a meal plan unless they live in housing that has a kitchen. The housing Into Mason students live in does not have a kitchen. So you're required, the housing charge includes the complete meal plan, which is an all-you-can-eat meal plan. Dining is open on campus 24/7, so there's always a dining facility that is open, and the meal plans are all you can eat. There's a wide range of different options for students who live off campus, who may not, may only be here a certain number of days that they're actually on campus, and then they can purchase meal plans based on swipes into the dining facility. Meaning, like, you could purchase 100 swipes. Once you swipe, you can eat whatever you want, but then once you leave, you have to swipe to get back in. Full meal plans, you swipe to get in, but you can swipe multiple times during the day. So you could swipe in 15 times during the day if you wanted to, and there's no additional charge.
Okay, thank you so much.
Let me check if I have been able to. Now, okay, there you are. Are you allocated? You're 21, you're allocated. Okay. I was just double checking, Zaid, that I had you in a bed because I am running out of beds.
Okay, you can take your time.
So,
Yeah, I have a question.
yep.
Is the place where I live in while completing the pathway program same place after completing the pathway program?
So you are living, so there are multiple residence halls on campus. The residence hall that Into Mason students have, that Into Mason has its beds, is in the Angel Cabrera Global Center. It is on the Fairfax campus. There are 277 beds in this building. Into Mason has 40 of those beds. Into Mason has 40 of those beds, so you will stay in an Into Mason bed as long as you're in an Into Mason program, unless I will occasionally during the semester, at the end of a semester, for example, when you end your time with us, or if you've been with us for a pretty long time, I will request that housing house you, and that you request housing through the regular housing process, which generally takes more time. So for example, right now, Mason housing, if you were coming in as a direct entry student, not coming in through Into Mason, there's a waiting list of about 100 students to get a bed. So what we do, because students who come through our programs, we admit you closer to the start of the term. We secure beds ahead of time and then take the risk that we're not going to fill all the beds, but we generally do. So yes and no. So we have students who spend all 4 years in this building because it's a regular residence hall and this is the building that they like. And then we have other students that will stay in this building and then they'll move to another building, either because that better suits their needs, or, that's where they got assigned if they requested any type. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you for explaining.
So Oliver, in
Yeah,
your
I have another question.
so in your case, though, I want you to keep in mind, because you're studying public policy,
Mm-hmm.
are you in a 1 semester or 2 semester program?
A 1 semester, I
A
think.
1 semester program. So
Wait, how long is a semester?
a semester is 3 months.
Oh, then I guess it's 2 semester.
What's your Chinese name?
ZIDONG. My last name is WENG, Wang.
Okay, and I have you in housing.
Yep.
Okay, so both of you are living, it looks like, in the Mason Global Center. Let me look you up for a second. Copy. Yeah, Oh,
Yeah, so I actually
why
have
are
a
you,
question.
why are you, I have a so let me just ask you,
Okay.
Oliver, are you coming from Canada?
Yeah. No, yes and no. Because currently I'm in China with my
Currently,
family.
currently you're in China, but you graduated. Why?
Yeah, but I
Why do
graduated
you,
from Canada.
why do you have a 2 semester?
Is something wrong?
I, I'm confused by
Mm,
something because you didn't take any ESOL in your no. And
uh,
you graduated from Canada, correct? Yes, you graduated from Toronto where you
yeah.
were taught in English.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to I need to double check something because you're in a, did you want a 2 semester pathway?
Is that optional?
Well, I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure we used to only have we used to only have a 2 semester public policy, but I'm pretty sure we just launched a 1 semester one, which um
Oh, okay. Cause,
which
cause, cause,
I just need to double check on that because
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean for a
sure.
long time we only had a 2 semester public policy.
Yeah,
Um
so from what I understand is that I think I need to take like 1 year off the Into program, then 1 year for public policy, right?
Correct. I,
Yeah. So what you're telling me
that's
is
what
we
that's what
can,
you're currently in. Let You're good. You have a room on campus for now. Most of
Mhm.
your public policy classes are going to be in Arlington, and which is another Mason camp. It's like it's on a satellite campus because Mason has multiple locations where we offer classes. They're
Yeah,
all considered part of the main Mason. So we don't, some universities have satellite campuses that have their own governance structure and their own degree programs. We have multiple locations that we offer classes. Arlington
okay.
campus being one of them, and that's where our most of our public policy classes are held. And so if you do end up living off campus, you are probably going to want to look closer to Arlington than to the Fairfax campus just because of transportation.
So how long is the shuttle bus? It's gonna
So
take
the shuttle
from
bus, so to get from Fairfax campus to the Arlington campus using the shuttle bus, honestly, it depends on traffic and the time of day. It can take 20 minutes
mm-hmm.
or it could take 45. Like
Oh,
it just
okay.
depends. It it's very, the traffic patterns here in Northern Virginia and the DC metro area since the pandemic have been
Mm-hmm.
more, have been less predictable than they were
Okay.
before the pandemic. So before the pandemic, I could tell you that if you're trying to go between 6 and 9:30, it's going to take you longer because that's when everybody is going into DC to their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
During the pandemic, everybody started working from home and traffic stopped. Like it was very easy to get around here. So
Mm-hmm.
easy. Now it feels like it's more like it's more like a daily rhythm. Like certain days of the week there's no traffic, and other days of the week there's more traffic. But again, I would say every school year it's changed slightly
Okay.
based on whether people are still working remotely, what their remote schedules are. I will say that there's still a lot of the government workers who are working remotely and only need to go into work twice a week. So it's a little
Okay.
bit up in the air, I guess is what I'm saying. Now,
Okay.
there is the option of taking the metro, because there's a metro stop right next to the Arlington campus. So it's on the orange line. It's on the orange and silver lines. So it's fairly easy to get to Arlington. Like it's not super hard. It's just a question of factoring in the transportation when you
Okay.
find a place to
Would
live.
would I be taking any of the public policy courses in the first term?
Yes, I think
Oh,
so.
in the first year. Okay.
Yes, you will be taking public policy courses in the first year.
Mm,
And then
okay.
so while you're in the pathway, you may have classes in Arlington and in Fairfax.
Got it.
While you're in the path, most of the public policy classes are going to be in the evening, so they'll start like around 4:30 would be the earliest probably that any of those will start.
Okay,
Um,
then traffic wouldn't be a problem, so
maybe.
maybe. I- Okay.
Like I said, it's been really strange. Like I've gone into DC now for like an evening
Mhm.
event, and I've
Yeah.
been shocked how like there was no traffic during the day. Like you'd look at Google, there's no traffic. And then going in for an evening event, even not a big evening event, there's lots of traffic
Oh, okay.
into DC. So it's just
Mhm.
it depends. But the metro is an option and the shuttle bus is an option.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Mhm.
What other questions might you have?
Um, could you like verify if I could if the 2 semester it's optional later? Could you
I
confirm it?
am going to, but I can't do it from where I'm at right now. So
Okay.
I'll have to
How do I
send
keep
you.
in touch with you?
So my email address is jpfaff at
Uh,
gmu at gmu.
JPFF. Could you repeat that?
Yes, it
Sorry.
is jpff
Yeah.
at gmu.edu. Did we
Okay.
lose?
Okay.
Who's
Yes.
anonymous attendee?
I'll send you an email later. Is that okay?
Yep, that's fine. Whoever the anonymous attendee is, no, it is not required to live on campus. Let's see. How many people do we have on here? Why can't I see? Participants 3, attendees 2. Oh, okay. Rahaf, are you the one that asked the question about living on campus? Hello? You are not required to live on campus. So hopefully folks got that. Yeah, so let me see. I know you can't type. You can't see the chat at all, correct? Let me put it in the Q&A. I don't know if I can type. Let's see. Can you see the chat at all if I type in the chat? I just put my email in the chat. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Rahaf, do you have any questions? If you can't speak, Rahaf, can you type your questions? Oh, okay, thank you. I will I will try to get the slideshow with the recording posted online on the Into Mason website. You can feel free to reach out to me or to reach out to Into EXP at gmu.edu if you have any questions about housing, about dining, any of those questions. You will see me, you will see, I will be here when you arrive. So if you don't have any questions, I can end the webinar.
No questions for me.
Okay. Oliver, if you could email me on that email address with your official name, because I didn't write it down. I don't want to forget it when I go to respond to your study plan question. Okay. And Rahaf?
Yeah, I just sent it to you. Thank you.
Okay, great. Zaid, you had a question? I don't see you anymore, but I see a hand raised. I don't see him. See. Zaid, if you have a question, go ahead and ask it. If you're still here. I see four. Why is it not letting me? Oh, I can't hear you, Zaid. Type your answer. Type your question. Why am I not seeing everybody? I can't hear you. Please just type your question, Zaid. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I have to unmute you. Allow to talk. Okay, now talk, Sid. Now try talking.
Hello, you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I feel like
Okay, I write it already in chat now, and now I can ask you, are this any gym and camps or pool, something like that?
Absolutely. So on campus, the Angel Cabrera Global Center is across the street from the Recreation and Athletics Center. That's where we have weight rooms, gym, basketball courts, volleyball courts, squash courts, lots of classes. Then there is an aquatic center where we have an Olympic-sized pool, a lap pool. There is also the Skyline Gym, which is sort of in the center of campus. So there's multiple gyms on campus that as a student, you're free to use. There's no additional charge for them. And then off campus, there's a wide range of different places. Some apartment complexes will have gyms in the apartment complex. So like the flats and the main both have an on-site gym. It's basically a weight room, I think. The flats has a pool apparently. I haven't seen it, but or not the flats. The main has a pool. So yes, there's plenty of gyms. There are a wide range of different soccer pitches and football fields, baseball fields outside. We have the wide range of different sports, ranging from intramural sports, meaning teams that kind of play against themselves just on campus. Then we have some teams that are not Division I teams, meaning they're the sort of high level college sports teams, but they may be kind of in between an intramural team that plays other intramural teams with other colleges. So for example, we don't have a football team that is a Division I football team, but we do have an intramural or a sort of traveling intramural football team that plays American football. There's a wide range. There's a cricket, there's a big cricket group. There's a wide range of different sports activities. Does that answer your question?
Thanks for cooperation.
Rahav, you are asking, let me see. Ask to unmute now. Rahav, are you in a space where you can speak? You asked about your G number in the chat.
You asked me about my G number and I gave it
I
to you.
asked you and you gave me, but the other person that's on typed in my G number.
Other person?
Yeah. Hey, I've got to go because I have another meeting.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
No worries, no worries.